Thank you so much, Mr. Mick. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think actually, Mr. Mick, this is the first video going out of you being here for the day. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Mick Taylor. I'm normally found on That Pedal Show. I used to be found around these parts, and I'm very pleased to be back in these walls. Thank you, Lee.
I'm so happy to have you back for the day. And yes, stay tuned, like and subscribe and all those things, because Mick's going to do 3 or 4 videos whilst he's here today, and we'll drip those out. As they say.
An overdrive pedal.
Who knew? I left That Pedal Show to come to Andertons to make a pedal show. Yes, so this is cool, right? We have a dear friend who makes pedals for a company called Browne Amplification, David Browne. And most of you will know the Protein. It's been a hugely popular pedal.
Staple on That Pedal Show. We
100%.
use it a lot, and we're big fans.
But little did we know that the Protein was nearly not a Protein. So the original idea for this dual overdrive pedal was to take the Carbon, which is their Blues Breaker modded circuit, and the Gritador, which was their Tube Screamer modded circuit. Put those two in a pedal. But a dear friend of David's was in a band, basically, and was like, I constantly turn up at these sort of gigs, get given some crappy clean amplifier that's not very good.
Imagine that.
So could I have, instead of the Gritador side of it, could you do me something that maybe is bigger, like fatter sounding? So they ended up sort of doing a take on the Nobels ODR1 and using that as the green side of the Protein.
Yeah,
so that's that.
On this side of the Protein is the Nobles, and on that side of the Protein is a Blues Breaker style circuit.
That's right.
And that's why we love it.
Yes, that's what that is. So again, Nobles, his version of the ODR.
Yeah.
Then this pedal came out. So the next dual overdrive pedal he did was 2 Blues Breakers in one,
right,
featuring an original Carbon circuit and then a Carbon version 2 circuit. So that's where the switch comes in.
Yeah.
And that's been pretty popular as well. Something makes me want to say that David Ryan Harris asked for this to be made, but I might have got that wrong. Apologies if I have.
And if you don't know who David Ryan Harris is, please go and check him out right now, because he is unbelievable.
He got it all. He can sing, he can play. It's the full package.
Full Dennis Waterman.
And then bizarrely, in a conversation that I was having with David when he came over to do a Captain Meets, was like, why didn't you do the Gritador and the wouldn't that be a more, like a more commonly thought combination? And then he went, funny you should say that, Lee. And here we are a year later, very proudly announcing in collaboration with Browne Amplification, the Ethane, of which Andertons will exclusively sell it this side of the pond. And someone in America, maybe Browne Amplification themselves, I'm not sure, will sell it exclusively the other side of the pond. So Mick, I thought we'll just take it in turns to play, find sounds, see what we like.
We'll play some humbuckers. I found this rubbishy old guitar in Anderson's second-hand section. It is a Murphy 64 SG. It's really, really fantastic.
I always wonder, who decides to chop that? What unbelievable guitar did they swap it for?
Yeah.
It's like,
I think sometimes. Anyway, no, let's not.
Yeah.
Not too many tangents.
I will just say, if you're not familiar with the Gritador is the mod of a Tube Screamer that doesn't make it as nasally as so he tweaks the sort of gain circuit a bit, but it's mainly an EQ thing. I think when we've tried this before, it's universally agreed that actually this is a killer sounding pedal.
It's called Gritador because it adds grit to the Tube Screamer, isn't it?
It's not Harry Potter.
I'm sure.
No,
I'm sure I read that somewhere. It adds plenty of grit, which of course is what the Tube Screamer is missing.
So that's what that is. Look, you know what though? So we're going to grab guitars. We're playing through. We're just trying to vary things up today. So we've had a couple of videos with Victory amps in it. So I thought we'd try something different now. We're using the Tone King Royalist, which is a sort of we've got it in its 1964 setting. So it'd be like early JTM vibe. It's about as, it's not, we've got it turned down, so we're getting as clean a sound as possible from here. So everything you're hearing drive-wise coming from here.
And a bit of reverb from a Strymon Blue Sky, which is nice.
Well, look, let's start. We're stacking this so you have to use it in the order that Browne Amplification designed it. He feels very strongly that it's just like, doing it. He designed the pedal. He knows what sounds best, and that's the order. You can, however, if you want, use TRS jacks in here, and there's an internal switch. So if you want to make it two completely independent pedals because you use it through a looper or something like that, you can do that. And then, of course, you could switch the order if you wanted to. Yeah. But as it is, this is what comes first.
Okay, we will use some single coils in a minute, but anyway.
I would not, if you'd have turned that on and gone, what circuit has this originated from? I would never have gone, I think it's got a Tube Screamer DNA, and then I just think it's a much fatter sounding drive pedal than that.
Way more grit, as the name suggests, and much more top end response. Out of interest, if you dial that tone control back, can we get closer to, we'll need a S-type guitar for that, which we'll do in a minute, but I'm just wondering if it will go darker and where the tone control sits.
Where would you want? Yeah, I quite like it round about that sort of 10 o'clock position.
It definitely does. We'll try it with the Strat type guitar in a minute, because I think obviously SG, relatively bright sounding guitar, quite a lot of aggression from the pickups, so it's coming through the pedal real nice. I tell you what, mate, if it didn't mean divorce, I would hand you my credit card right now.
Well, how many days until this video goes live, Mr. T?
Till Tuesday.
So not long. So there's every chance this will still be in stock. So go dive on over to the Andertons website, see if you can find a Tom Murphy SG in stock. What is it? 1960?
64. So nice profile. Anyway, sorry, we're not here to talk about this.
What if we put all the beans in with an SG?
All the bean.
I think even with all the beans on the Gritador side, it still felt to me like there was a reason this is in a dual overdrive pedal. Like there's another gear that guitar could go to.
One of the things I'm noticing about it, if it is a traditional TS type circuit, the overdrive affects less of the bottom frequencies. So the lower you go down, the less it's overdriven. There's a lot of people say there's a clean blend in a Tube Screamer. There isn't. Doesn't quite work like that. But it doesn't overdrive the bottom end as much as it does the mids and the top. And I think what that gives, from this guitar anyway, is a massive amount of clarity on those.
I totally agree.
I don't know. This is a pretty serious guitar. That is a pretty serious amp. This combination is
serious.
I am loving it.
Well, before we stack, let's just hear the Blues Breaker side. So the carbon side, which again, most pedal modders see an original blues breaker and just don't like the fact that all the action happens in the last 10% or 20%.
You've got to have it right down.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about blues breakers, so we'll test that in this example, is they tend to clean up nicely. So
we have this. So the version 2 Carbon had this switch here. I think these are basically brightness switches. So middle position is the sort of flat response, no brightness. And let me just get my notes here. Up is a double high cut, and down is a single level of high cut.
So it takes it away.
Yeah, so I think it's if you've got a rig that is particularly bright, you can darken it as opposed to the other way around. I love these. I mean, for me, the perfect dual pedal is a sort of a two different vibes of fat rhythm rock and roll guitar, and then both together, there's my lead guitar solo, boom.
Again, we'll see when we change guitars, but it does seem that clarity is the name of the game here. And it could just be what we're using, but it never gets that sense, even with the... Please tell me that the knob on the right is the gain.
Gain, yeah, gain
Right.
and level.
Yeah, sorry. It's partly this and partly because I can't actually see over the top.
No, it's fine. When you it depends which way you're watching the video as to who the knob on the right is. If you're watching, it's Mick. If you're in the room, it's me.
Thank you. Even with the gain up, there's still plenty of clarity, and it did clean up very nicely.
I agree.
So, I don't know about you, but if I'm stacking, what I like to do is make this side quite gainy.
So you go gainier on the first stage.
Number one, gainy, yeah. And then number two, if you set it loud, then what you have is a kind of boosty deal with the other side off, or you've got exactly what you just said, all together. Should we
do that then?
Yeah, I just, for my own OCD, I need to set this to...
Oh, I just know this is going to sound good
2 o'clock.
already. Even the hum gives it sound.
Let's see how much lift we get off the second side a minute. just messing around with the volume control there to see how clean it would go, even with that insane amount of gain.
Well, I suppose neither of those circuits are metal zone territory or anything, are they? I mean, they're two, in isolation, relatively low to mid gain pedals. I think there should be some, if you drop the input into it, it should clean up.
It should clean up. One of the things that some pedals don't do is if you drop the guitar volume, they can go very dark, and that didn't seem to be doing that, which is nice.
Right, let's see what it likes with Tele. I think after this, if you play the S-type, and then maybe we'll finish with a traditional Les Paul or something like that, and then... Well, there's my normal clean sound. I'd dial a bit more in.
Mid-gain, yeah.
You know what this has got, which I can see why people think there's a clean blend on a tube screamer, because the attack is so immediate of a relatively clean sounding note, and then the sort of the gain and the compression and the sustain comes in slightly afterwards, and it's quite a disconcerting.
Yeah.
It's almost like, have I set this right? But actually, it's the clarity is what you ultimately get, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very different sounding, aren't they?
Yeah. It's so open, this one.
It's exactly the word I was going to use. Interesting how much less microphonic this guitar is than the SG. I thought we'd have more problems with this one.
Yeah,
we are playing ever so loud today.
Yeah, we
Mick.
are ever so loud, ever so loud. I know that all the extra metal work on SGs of that nature can cause that.
Oh, you mean the bridge and the frame system and everything?
But also I have played. I think they keep the potting on those bridge pickups super light on some of those SGs, and we had a Pell and Blue one that was quite squealy. That one is almost perfect, because you get that real open sound.
Do you want to go with the S-type?
Yeah, let's do that. And so this is obviously a very different deal. We've heard it predominantly balls out, which we will do with the Strat, but it would be good to just see where we are boosty wise.
Okay.
Sorry, I mean S-style guitar.
I know. We really. Can you imagine if Fender had to go after everybody that referred to a non-Strat as a Strat? They'd have a 200-man legal team, wouldn't they? Just to sort of...
we do have to say that Strat is a registered trademark of Fender Musical Instruments Company.
Yes, actually, and I always say, if you want a Strat, then you should just buy a Fender.
Buy a Fender.
If there's something you don't like about Strats, then have a look at things like these, which try and do like a smidgen different take on
I
it.
wondered what they did after Mbop, but... Yeah.
After oh, Anderton. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, the Danes. Right.
Feels like we've lost the reverb, or have we just have gone deaf?
I think as we hit it harder, the reverb will come back.
Note clarity thing now works so well with that sound, because you're not, the overdrive bit is a real gentle supplement to the sound as opposed to a big part of it, and it works so well.
And that's what I would normally expect from a bluesbreaker type circuit, because the TS would never have that much high end in it. So if I'll just play that little lick again and then switch over to the blues side.
Both quite mayory sounding, aren't they? That's the best sound this pedal's done. Is it just made for Strats?
I know, I loved it with the SG. I loved it with the Tele. I think to get that much gain going, I mean, right, okay. Our friend is known, right, for his use of the bluesbreaker pedal. So I was kind of going there with those.
Yeah.
You know, but that clarity.
Sorry. Yeah, it's got some sort of like a neon top end with just massive clarity, but like a sort of a burning.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
That's really see. This is what I love about good overdrive pedals, is they're so multi-layered with what they can do.
Your brain fills in the rest, right?
Well, there is that.
That's killer. I dig it with this guitar.
Yeah.
You know, to go from an SG to a Tele to an S-Type to a Lester, pretty cool.
No. Well, look, so we'll finish up on this. This is cool. So I don't even know if we said what the name of it was the whole way through. Ethane. And I did question the pronunciation, and it absolutely is methane without the M. So it's not Ethan or Ethane or anything else like that. It's just Ethane. And I'm led to believe that this may actually even be a limited edition pedal, whether that's the finish is limited edition or the whole run is limited edition, I don't know. But it'd be a bit of a shame if it does all sell out and we can't get any more. So I will, let's hope it's maybe just the finish is limited. But yeah, £349. So it's obviously at the, the sort of the higher end of the pedal spectrum, but it's kind of in line with what David makes prices his other pedals. So I really like that. I think that's I've always questioned on the Protein, not like, do I like the pedal? I think it's a brilliant pedal, but like, why do the ODR1 and the Blues Breaker?
Yeah, I mean, the answer to that might be that the TS is so ubiquitous and in so many dual pedals that to do the Nobles is a good idea. But I agree with you. I can see who would prefer the Ethane, and I can totally see who will prefer the Protein. So the point of saying that is it doesn't feel like, ooh, it's 10% different.
It's completely different.
Yeah, and it will appeal to a different bunch of people. Like, I can tell you now, I'm an Ethane person and Dan would be a Protein person.
Interesting.
I just know.
So the bigger, fatter, higher gain stuff, Protein, the more, rock and roll bluesy, slightly more open sound, Ethane maybe.
Yeah, we both love a Blues Breaker.
This is the ultimate stack then, isn't it? Just although anyway,
let's hear the Leicester.
Yeah, there was one other cool feature that this did that I didn't even understand why you would want to do that, but Mick here told me. You can mess around with what the startup mode is. So as soon as it detects 9 volts, the default position would be the pedals are off and you turn them on like that. But you can switch it so that as soon as it detects 9 volts, the pedals come on. And that would be if you had it in a bit like your board where you're controlling everything off a switcher and you never want the pedal to be off.
Yeah, so in my board, you plug the power in the back and there's, I don't know what there is, 7 or 8 pedals on there. And I have to turn 3 of them on because they don't come on.
Well, on this, that is an option. It's got 2 startup modes, one where the pedals are off and one where they're on. Anyway, yes, let me
you need to
make a terrible noise as we finish. I wonder how different this will be to the SG. We'll find out. I've not played this guitar in a while, so. Completely different to the SG, isn't
Sounds
it?
ace!
I mean, it's just a full fat version of an SG, isn't it?
It's
got
really
some chronic stain. It's just chronic sustain. It just sings for days.
That's pretty special, actually.
This is a stock R8 from 2013.
Only a custom shop Gibson.
Well, I mean, they've gone up a bit since I bought this one, but I don't know about you, but Gibson especially, there is a leap from standard up to custom shop that is significant, isn't there? Which I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing about Fender, but I think that the leap from a good USA Fender Strat to custom shop is less obvious than the leap from a Les Paul standard to a custom shop Les Paul. So don't know what that even means, but yeah, these are just great guitars.
Yeah, it's pretty serious sounds today, and quite often when you try an overdrive pedal, you might be tempted to say, oh yeah, it's really it works well with this, or it works well with that. I thought that was pretty stunning with all of the classic guitars that we played.
I agree. Lots of uses for that. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Mick, for coming in. Stay tuned for more special guest appearances from Mr. Taylor in another video soon. Thank you. See you later.